Hello, friends! Researchers delight us not only with discovered sarcophagi with mummies, gold, and pirate ships. Sometimes they stumble upon giants of the past, from the times of the First and Second World Wars. And judging by the findings, the engineers back then had plenty of creativity. This machine was created to turn the tide of wars. But fate had other plans. The megatank was swallowed by the dirt of dense forests and was forever abandoned. Until in 2003 researchers discovered the remains of a bunker foundation, an overgrown well, and rusted parts of a large mechanism. We're talking about the Tsar tank, which was designed by engineer Nikolai Lebedenko. Having secured an audience with Nicholas II, he charmed the autocrat with a wooden model of his tank, which moved with the help of a winding mechanism. The Tsar was so inspired by the potential breakthrough in technology that he spared no expense, contributing 200,000 rubles of his own funds to transform the wooden toy into a full-fledged prototype. This tech marvel had two 9-meter diameter wheels on the sides, with a sturdy armored frame and a circular turret between them. The tank was almost 18 meters long, 12 meters wide, and the machine weighed about 60 tons. For comparison, today's Challenger tank outpaces this dinosaur by just a couple of tons. The components were made in a Moscow factory, and the secret wonder weapon, designed to change the war's course, was assembled. However, the machine didn't pass the tests, forever stuck in the forests near Moscow. In 1917, Lebedenko left Russia, and his brainchild rusted in the wilderness for several years before, as historians say, it was cut up for scrap metal. For the centenary of the Lebedenko tank trials, a full-size metal model of the Tsar's weapon was created at the initiative of the T-34 Tank Museum. Now it towers over the museum complex territory. And what do you think of such a wonder? Of course, it would be interesting to see a confrontation between the Tsar tank and this Italian design. The Tsar tank was used in World War I. To this day, it is one of the most mysterious machines in the world of tanks, as there is almost no information about it. It is only known that in addition to its incredible dimensions and unusual appearance, the tank had a cannon that fired 305 mm caliber shells. For comparison, modern heavy tanks mainly have a caliber of 120 mm. Presumably, this machine was used in the shelling of Austrian fortifications in the Alps. What do you think this looks like? It seems like something from the new Star Wars series. But no, many of these wonderful tanks were lost. They were developed in Venezuela in 1934. The logical question arises, how and why? The government set a clear goal for the engineers: to intimidate neighboring Colombia with wonder technologies. Of course, the intimidation is a bit dubious, considering also that the model's name translates as turtle. The armored tank in the form of a pyramid was attached to a 4-wheel drive, 6-wheeled Ford truck, and the only weapon provided on the turret was a machine gun. But these guys, in my opinion, are clearly inferior in intimidation to the previous two. Continuing the fantastic theme, remember how in the Hollywood film Battleship alien ships attacked Earth with such spheres? And now take a look at this. Doesn't it remind you of anything? Apparently, the film's directors were inspired by the Third Reich project. They say that this 2-ton machine exists in a single copy in the Cuban Tank Museum. Almost nothing is known about it. Only a few things are clear. The ball tank was produced in Nazi Germany by the Crew Company and was captured by Soviet troops in 1945, supposedly on a German training ground. The cabin was only equipped with a radio station. No weapons were found in it. The hull was virtually intact, and the cabin could only be accessed through a hatch. The engine is single-cylinder motorcycle type. Experts suggest that the mechanism was intended to adjust the course of artillery strikes. Want to ride on this specimen, friends? Write in the comments. A mass of 1,000 tons, 39 meters in length, and 11 meters in height. If this supermassive tank had indeed been built in the 1940s, it would have become the largest in history. Moreover, this record would not have been beaten even to this day. Impressed? We're talking about the Rat tank, which translates to rat. The engineers of the Third Reich shone with their imagination, creativity, and ambitions. It's unknown how things would have turned out in World War II if this tank had been produced. Although, who knows? Maybe it's also rusting away in some dense forest somewhere. But according to official data, the German military leadership preferred not to develop the project of this model, as its implementation would have required an incredible amount of resources, which is not surprising. The plan was to arm the tank with a pair of naval guns with a caliber of 280 mm 128 mm cannon and 10 machine guns. As for the engines, the engineers wanted to put 2 diesel ship engines on the tank. How many horsepower do you think it would take to accelerate a 1,000-ton tank to at least 25 km per hour? I'm waiting for your answers. This tank would hardly ever get lost in the woods or desert, but I really want to mention it. And who knows what consequences its loss would have led to. The TV-8 was created by Chrysler in 1955. You've probably noticed that it has several distinct features. The first is its huge immovable turret, rigidly fixed on a lightweight chassis as a single monolith without a single slit. The second is the engineer's solution to power the tank from a compact nuclear reactor located right in the turret. And the third is the television cameras mounted on the turret so that the tank crew wouldn't be blinded by a nuclear bomb explosion. Have you guessed what it was intended for yet? Exactly. It was supposed to operate in the conditions of a nuclear war, that is, near a nuclear explosion. They wanted to equip the machine with 2 machine guns and a 90 mm cannon. Such a project greatly impressed the military leadership of the states, and it seemed that they would soon put it on the assembly line. But here's the trouble. No one thought about the only flaw in the design. Creating a small nuclear reactor for a tank turned out to be a difficult task. And there was also a high risk that a direct hit on such a reactor would have disastrous consequences not only for the crew, but also for the soldiers and other equipment around the tank. Therefore, the euphoria quickly passed and the project had to be abandoned. Not only the United States of America developed tanks for nuclear war conditions. Of course, Union of Soviet Socialist Republics engineers were close behind. In 1957, a team of designers from the Leningrad Kirov plant developed a prototype of a heavy tank called Object 279, unique in its kind according to the official version, although it's not excluded that someday some mushroom pickers might stumble upon the same machine somewhere in the Siberian wilderness. The tank's hull had a cast curvilinear shape with anti-cumulative sheets, supplementing its contours to an elongated ellipsoid. But the tank's running gear deserves special attention. Have you already noticed the 4 caterpillar drives located under the hull? Such a design of the running gear provided the machine with virtually no ground clearance, as a result of which bottoming out was impossible, which improved passability in deep snow and swampy terrain. And the special shape of the tank allowed it to resist overturning in a nuclear explosion. However, there were problems here too. The running gear was difficult to operate and repair, although it had high cross-country ability. Some reports suggest Khrushchev shut down the project, and thank God. Friends, which tank impressed you the most? Write in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Amazing Facts channel. Bye!